Hello, hello, and welcome to another 2 Network match report with me, Adam. It's finished at the King Power. It's finished at Leicester City 0, Newcastle United 1. Ayoze Perez with a flick deft header at the near post in the first half is enough to seal all 3 points and probable survival for Rafa's Mags. Get in! Absolutely amazing. I mean, obviously last season we went to the King Power and put on probably one of our best away displays when we beat them 2-1. If you remember, Shelby had an incredible match that day, and he wasn't in the starting lineup, but Ayoze Perez scored that unbelievable lob past Kasper Schmeichel, drawing comparisons between the Albert chip past his dad Peter. But it's been Ayoze Perez's day once more. It was a completely cliche, typical Rafa Benitez defensive performance against what has been one of the form sides of the Premier League over the last month or so since Brendan Rodgers' arrival. The new manager bounce has absolutely had impact in the league. Leicester remain, I believe, in 7th as it stands. But this win has put us with 4 games left for us to play. It's put us temporarily 10 points clear of Cardiff City, who have 2 games left in hand on us. They've got 2 very, very difficult away games, away to Burnley this weekend and then away to Brighton. So it really puts psychologically 10 points gap to make up with, for them, 6 games, for us 4 games. I mean, this is huge, and I think this is it. This is survival. And do you know what it was? I didn't really want to fault the way that we played against Crystal Palace, because I thought we were, certainly the first half, we were proactive, we were on the front foot, we were asking questions of defenders, and it just wasn't sitting for us. Tonight, we sort of played in the same way. We played in a kind of home way, although, classic, we again, very, very similar to the Huddersfield away result, which Rondon got the only goal in that game. Huge result in terms of, the relegation picture. But we won away to Huddersfield, I believe, with less than 30% possession. Again, this has been a recurring theme under Rafa Benitez's side. And tonight, 29% possession. However, in terms of shots, and in terms of shots on target, and in terms of game influence and effectiveness, and that's what Rafa, I bang on about it every single time, but Rafa goes on about effectiveness, not about possession. It's about what you do when you do have the ball. And we did as much. Honestly, the stats are pretty much bang on for both sides. So if you look at Leicester total shots, 12 with 5 on target. Newcastle 11 with 5 on target. So it's pretty much neck and neck. However, we've only got 29% possession. So the fact that we just built these sort of banks of, I guess, a 4 and a 5 with Rondon isolated, when we were without possession, meant that they had to try and break us down, which they couldn't do. They had 2 very, very good, skillful wingers in Harvey Barnes and Demarai Gray. But we shut them out, and they struggled to get the crosses in. They obviously got a few crosses in throughout the game, because obviously you've got Chilwell, Ricardo Pereira, who are absolutely excellent wing backs. But the formation nullified them. The fact that the hard work that Almiron did, and then Atsu, and then on the other side Perez and Manquillo, and we stopped. It meant that they had to try and play through the middle. We forced them into the middle. Of course, when you get to the middle, you've got Maddison, who's created one of the highest chance creators in the top 5 leagues in Europe. But with him and Tielemans trying to feed Vardy, I think it was only once that Tielemans found Vardy, and when he scuffed his shot, and it weirdly sort of looped over Dubravka. It looked like it was a save at first, but it didn't go anywhere near. But it was just an excellent defensive, disciplined performance, and we were composed, and Rondon was a fantastic outlet. So obviously, like the first, Manquillo was in for Yedlin. After Yedlin's mistake cost us conceding the penalty against Crystal Palace. Dummett came in for Lejeune as expected. But I thought, Almiron looked really up for this game in the first half, particularly. He was everywhere. He was looking to get involved. He seems desperate to make an impact. He wants to start making that position absolutely his own. He wants to start running games. That's what he wants. You can tell he has the enthusiasm to want to dictate. It's difficult for him when he's pushed so far wide, but he really looked up for it, and we saw his electric pace a couple of times in this game with Richie feeding him, and he was in behind. It was like the first time we'd seen like Almiron properly in behind, and Rondon and Perez were kind of behind play, so that was quite difficult for for him to kind of create anything meaningful. But I mean, in the first half, I thought Tielemans was very lucky not to get more than a yellow. I mean, I'm not complaining about the yellow because I think it could be seen either way. It's however the referee decides to interpret it. But you've got a studs up challenge on his ankle, on Key's ankle, and he very nearly had to come off because of it. It was poor form, like really poor form, and even the commentators conceding that could have been a red card, that could have been them down to 10 men, and that would have changed the whole complexion of the game. We really came alive, I think, when we got a free kick, and Rondon had wasted a couple of opportunities against Crystal Palace after he'd netted that beautiful curler against Bournemouth at the Vitality. But the whip he got on this shot, absolutely incredible. The curl, the sheer curl on it, totally beats Kasper Schmeichel, and it's very, very unfortunate that it hits it hits the stanchion really. It could have easily just popped in on the postage stamp on the top left-hand side, and that was a warning sign, and that was showing that Rondon was in the mood, and he battled again really, really well. But it was, Perez really, really impressed me. It wasn't just, the movement that he showed for that first goal, and it had been sort of very much Leicester for the first sort of 20-25 minutes, but we then started to come into the game for the final, half of the first half, and we really applied the pressure. We really asked questions of them, and it was a share header that sort of found its way to Rondon, and we were catching them in possession a lot. Hayden had flashed one, over the bar after sort of dispossessing. I think indeed straight pass had come off his heel. Hayden blazes it over. There was an opportunity when Maguire and Morgan got their feet sort of caught up together and sort of bowled off and tried to clear, and it didn't work out, and Almiron got in ahead of got a shot in on the near post from long range, and we were creating chances, but it was a ball from Rondon laid out to Richie, who found Almiron on the overlap, and Almiron just drove at Pereira. He just decided, head down, I'm gonna drive and ask questions. Pereira makes quite an easy, relatively safe challenge, but it comes out to Richie. He takes a one-touch past Pereira towards the byline, whips one in, and even at the point that he whips one in, Perez is standing on the penalty spot, but his movement and his pace and his anticipation is so good that he nicks ahead of Leicester captain Wes Morgan, a central defender who makes Rondon look as fast as Vardy does, and Perez it's skimmed off his hair gel, looped into the back post, and Schmeichel, who's quite an imposing, figure, and he's absolutely nowhere near it. It is inch perfect. It is incredibly difficult, that kind of header. If Harry Kane makes that header, people are raving about it. It was superb. It should not be underestimated and underrated. That was an absolutely fantastic, phenomenal header from Ayoze Perez, who again proves his doubters wrong. Absolutely made up for him. It was fantastic. We were obviously going to come under a lot of pressure in the, at some point in the game, but you know what? We went into half time, and things. I wouldn't say things seemed comfortable, but we seemed like we were, yes, we hadn't had much possession, but there was there's more questions to ask in terms of inside the Leicester dressing room than it would have been Rafa Benitez, and again for the first sort of 10-15 minutes of the second half, boom, we came out the traps again. We, like as we'd done in the first half, and I think we'd had a Lascelles header on target after about a minute, about 75 seconds. So we signalled our intent again, and it was the high pressing of Almiron and Perez, and yes, even Rondon, even though he doesn't have the pace of the other two, really putting a shift in and really making their defenders have to think. And they've got some absolutely spectacular players. What a squad! I mean, it's a very, very it's an enviable squad. Loads of pace, loads of youth, loads of chance creation. They're a dynamic side. They've got movement. but that it was the central defenders that are their weak point, and that's what we'd exploited in the first half with scoring the goal. The fact that Morgan doesn't have the pace to anticipate where that ball was going to go, but Ayoze Perez did, had absolutely no right to win that header, and he did, and he scored it. But we went for them. We got in behind, as I said, the way when Almiron was unleashed by Richie on the left-hand side, and he got in behind, but the positioning wasn't great. There was another ball came over when. And I think Almiron was winding up, and then Perez just kind of he hadn't heard a shout, or he just sort of got a toe to it, and it spoiled the. And the pair of them looked at each other just like it just shows that we were creating chances and that we were coming clean. And then you got Fabian Schär doing basically emulating the run that he did against Cardiff where he scored, except he must have beaten about 7 players. It was absolutely ridiculous. Very, very composed to lay it out to Almiron, who's desperate for his goal tonight. Almiron had quite a tidy little shot in the first half with a curler at the far post that was well read by Schmeichel. But this time he had space, he had time, but he skewed it wide. It spun off his foot on his favoured left foot as well, and it went wide. But it was just a few flashes, a few warning signs to think that we're not done yet. We're not ready. We're not ready to just like sit back, park the bus, and allow them to try and spend half an hour like coming at us. As it happens, that's sort of what happened for the last sort of 20 minutes. But there was another opportunity with Perez. Like his runs tonight were fantastic. Like he went on all these runs. I don't know how many times he's nutmegged players tonight. I hope there's somebody counting. Absolutely incredible. Amazing close control. He just doesn't get the credit that he deserves. He was absolutely unplayable tonight, Ayoze Perez. And there was a lovely bit of play where Rondon found him to the back post. He pulled it down. Chilwell was really tight on him. It bounced up. He sort of come down again. He then brought it under control. He got past Chilwell. He then nutmegged him. He's then threw on Kasper Schmeichel, and he almost has a couple of touches too many. He should have just sort of unleashed it, peng it, toe poke it past the goalkeeper, just lash it, whatever. But he didn't get his shot away. Schmeichel read the danger, but there was just, there were flashes. It wasn't just a flash, it wasn't just sort of like a smash and grab win by any. It wasn't of Crystal Palace. It wasn't what Crystal Palace did last week to us. It was a very effective, proactive performance that was an energetic, dynamic, disciplined, and it's absolutely what Rafa Benitez would have been wanting for tonight. And it means that we go into the game against Southampton not really needing a win. A win would be nice, and I think we'll probably get a win anyway. It means that final game against Fulham at Craven Cottage on the last day of the season will be a celebration. It will be a party, and hopefully we'll hear more about I'd like Rondon to sign as well, but Rafa Benitez signing a new contract or contract extension at least for another year. But that's sort of questions for another day. But then there was a couple of penalty shouts. Manquillo, kamikaze Manquillo. He made a couple of errors. He made a missed touch, and then he sort of he got a yellow card for absolutely scythed the player down. I don't know how Maddison didn't get a yellow card for persistent fouling, and Key, a little clip on the back of the heels, instant yellow card. Not sure about that. I thought Richie did really well. Hayden just put a shift in. Schär just winning he's just fantastic. Schär, he had a really, really, really good game today. Fabian Schär, really, really impressed with him. And Diarmi was the right call to make in the centre of the park for Key, who'd got a knock earlier. It wasn't the game for Shelvey at that point. Whether Shelvey should have started or not, but then look, we've won the game, 3 points, so that's a good decision to not play Shelvey, as it turns out. What do I know? But Diarmi was the right player to come on at that point. Atsu came on for Almiron, and we just sort of ran the game out, and there was a few hairy moments towards the end, a couple of corners. They've decided to get the first corner with 6 minutes left. But we really, really dug in and defended well and just frustrated them. Frustrated a very, very good attacking side. And that is the power of Rafa Benitez. That's the genius of Rafa Benitez. Even with our best defender, one of our best players, out for the season, we can go to Leicester, top 7 side, in their own back garden, and frustrate them, keep a clean sheet, and win the game with all 3 points. Unbelievable. What an achievement. What an achievement. He has absolutely no right to go and do that tonight. Absolutely no right. And yes, I did stick a couple of quid on this, so I'm buzzing even more. A couple of really, you know, interesting stats that come out. You know, after the first half, saying open play crosses this season. Matt Ritchie's had the most open play crosses this season with 144. Second's Lucas Digne with 133, and Andros Townsend at Crystal Palace 120. And it's almost like him moving to wing back has opened up. Like he's having more shots, crosses from deep, so he's got more space in front of him. So when he's playing right wing, he's, you know, the quick left backs will be tight on him, but when he's got space to run ahead of him, it's almost like it's unlocked him, and he's been able to create, strangely, more chances at left wing back than his more natural right wing. Absolutely insane. This is Rafa Benitez coaching, and I must say I've been wrong about Ritchie. He's been spectacular at left wing back. He's really grown into the role, and I think this changes things in terms of us selling him. At the minute, I don't want us to sell him because I think what he brings at that position is better than anything that we've got. And he works hard and he loves his club, and he, you know, his spirit and his fight is admirable, and hopefully it rubs off onto the rest of the team. Another stat about Rondon is that no Premier League players hit the woodwork more often than Salomon Rondon this season. That's 6 times. It just shows kind of, you know, how unlucky he's been, and how, you know, his goal tally could have been at least a couple more. But yeah, I'm absolutely made up with this win. It's absolutely brilliant, as you can tell. I'm just still trying to process just how happy I am. It was so important, and now we can enjoy the rest of the season, and now we can have a go at Liverpool. We've got absolutely nothing to lose. We can go to Southampton and just say, right, do you know what it is? Get Shelvey in there against Southampton and let's have a go. Let's have a go. I'm absolutely delighted. Absolutely delighted. So Perez is my man of the match. I think he got on Sky as well, but it wasn't just the header. I think it was his defensive work as well. But those mazy runs he did, I just find that absolutely. He's just class. Those nutmegs, just pure class, brilliant technique. He's really improved, and I'm absolutely delighted. I think I'm just repeating myself now, so I'll cut it there short. I've been Adam of the 2 Network. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I do match report videos after every single Newcastle game. So please get your comments in below. Let us know what you think. Let us know how you think we did tonight. Who was your man of the match? Who's the better right back? Who should be starting against Southampton? Should it be Yedlin or should it be Manquillo? Please tell me below. If you listen to this, please give us a 5-star, share with all your friends as usual. Follow us on Twitter at The 2 Network, and we're on Facebook as well, The 2 Network 8092. Whew, done all that. I've been Adam The 2 Network. Thanks very much. Bye, bye. Come on.